What's up, guys? Controversy time. But yeah, I want to talk about why I do not like Resident Evil 6. And there's a ton of factors, but little background. I'm making this video just because in my Resident Evil 7 not being at E3 video, which is probably one of my most popular ones, I talked about why I didn't like Resident Evil 6. Now, you guys are free to disagree with me. I know there's people out there who vastly enjoyed Resident Evil 6, who vastly enjoyed it. And I just want to go and talk about each individual thing that I did not like about Resident Evil 6. If you disagree, let me know. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. First things first is the mobility. In Resident Evil 6 you can roll to the side, you can jump backwards on the ground. When you're on the ground, you can roll left, you can roll right, you can dash. When you dash, you can slide. There's a lot of mobility in Resident Evil 6. There's a ton. There's more mobility than you can do in Resident Evil 1, 2, anything previous of Resident Evil 6 ever created. You cannot move like this, and it was a really good idea, but it wasn't necessary in the slightest. Holy shit, it was not necessary at all. There was no point in having that type of mobility. Like the freaking dive backwards. Why would you need to dive backwards? The only time I can think of that you would actually need that mobility if you're fighting like a boss or what was that thing? I forgot its name. I don't know why people get upset when I forget zombie names or the names of the enemies. Sorry, there is no zombies in Resident Evil 6 besides Leon's story. But yeah, it's pretty much one of those gas enemies. You'll see it on your screen right now. I know what I'm talking about. That's probably the only thing I needed the mobility for, and maybe the thing that was chasing Jake. That's it. That mobility for the entire game of everybody's story, you did not need that much mobility. It was completely and utterly unnecessary. Even for Chris's, which is more Call of Duty like, which I'll get into in a second, you didn't need that much mobility. And that was like a straight like gun battle and stuff, and have that mobility was not needed and completely and utterly unnecessary in my opinion. I didn't need that. Maybe your first playthrough you might want the mobility because you're still getting used to controls. When you get used to controls though, like your second playthrough, your third, shit, even in half an hour, you realize how useless it is, how utterly useless the mobility is. I know a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with me, but it's how I feel. But yeah, on to the next thing, which is probably the most vocal, which is the fact that it's more like Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, and there's a game mode in that multiplayer called third person, where you can actually play the game in third person. The camera was right on the ass of the character, just like Resident Evil 6. It was a war game, just like Resident Evil 6. It's completely ridiculous if you think about it, but how true it is. Chris's story especially, what the fuck was that? Seriously, what was that? Was that really Capcom's way of trying to get that Call of Duty AAA money? Like, really? Really? Like, oh my, Resident Evil 5, okay, I understand that. I understand that, you want to have guys who can shoot at you so you don't get too bored. And even Resident Evil 4, when there was parts of guys shooting at you, they did not make it that much warlike. I mean, Resident Evil 6, you had straight grenades, you had flashbangs, you had different types of weapons, assault rifles, shotguns. It was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's third person mode. That's all it was, completely and utterly unnecessary. Now, since you can pretty much go on any forum ever and see that one complaint of it being too much of an action Call of Duty style, then you know what? I'm not gonna talk about it anymore because you can find that anywhere. The next thing I didn't like was the cover system. The cover system was shit. It was shit. That's all I'm gonna say. I wish the controls were a little bit better on it. It would be a lot easier and simpler. It felt like every time I wanted to take cover, I had a crab claw it. But on to the next topic, which is this is off the top of my head. You guys know I don't make lists when I make a video. I feel that's really unnatural. But let's see, what else did I like about Resident Evil 6? It was extremely repetitive. Besides Leon's story, I feel like everybody else's was extremely repetitive. You know, you had the same bosses except it's just a different setting. That's it. That's pretty much it. That's all I can really say about that. It was extremely repetitive. Now, I don't want to focus on just the bad. I want to focus on what makes Resident Evil 6 good. Very good, actually. Resident Evil 6 is superior in any other Resident Evil game besides 4. With its, no matter of fact, it goes even better than 4. With its story, I love the way the story is set up. I love the way the story is set up. I wish games would do that more often. They had a timeline, and every character is doing something within this timeline, and they eventually come together and split apart when they come together. It's really good. I love that timeline system. It was fantastic to me. You know, I look back at other Resident Evil games, and yo, since Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 pretty much they took, you know, they were pretty much in the same place at the same time. What Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 was like that. That will be amazing. I don't want to make this video too long, so let's just say more positive things. Positive, everything about Leon's story was amazing. It wasn't repetitive. You had the classic zombies. You had that actual horror feeling. Leon's story was incredible. What else is good? What else? Let me. You guys tell me, what did you like about Resident Evil 6? Enough of hearing it from me. But yeah, those are the two things I believe Resident Evil 6 did very well in. Is the story, the overall story. I'm talking about everything, you know, story-wise with the timeline or whatnot. I also liked everything they did with Leon's story. His story was absolutely perfect to me. Yeah, you had zombies and you had guys who shoot at you. It was perfect, you know. So story and Leon's story. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. You agree, disagree, or not? Alright, I'm out of here. Deuces.